Please listen carefully. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
Byrd, Montell Griffin, say hi to each other, man. Welcome.
Chris Byrd! Montell, what's up? What up, boy? What up, champ?
Roommates.
Man, just chilling. Man, I'm just sitting here watching my Spurs go to work. They're going to work, too. This is a team they don't talk about.
You ain't talking basketball.
People understand. This is fundamental. This is the way the game's supposed to be played. No tattoos, no earrings, no braids, no cursing, no fighting. They just playing ball, team ball. Playing ball, straight up hooping. They balling. Byrd, what's up with you, man? Oh, nothing, man. Just following my son, man, playing AAU basketball. Okay, yeah, my daughter playing. Oh, yeah? It's a shame. I gotta tell people my daughter better than I've ever been. Yeah. She's starting a varsity as a sophomore. Basketball is my favorite sport, and my daughter better than me. No, that is crazy. Well, you know my sister was. Yeah, I forgot about that, yeah. Yeah, she's still balling. I forgot about Laura. Oh, she's still balling? Yeah, she coaches a team out here in San Diego now. And she's still balling every day. Yeah,
how long was she a pro, Chris?
What's that?
How long was your sister a pro for? 17
years.
Wow.
Everywhere. Yeah. She played in the first women's pro league in Chicago.
Yeah.
In fact, she played in the Chicago team, back in like 82, 83. Oh, yeah. That's cool. Yeah. Paul Bates still out there? Yeah, I talk to Paul all the time. Man, tell Paul to get with me, man, so I get the pain, man. I know. He's going to send me a picture of it, and then I ain't hear from him no more. He just teasing me. I'll send him my address and everything. All right. What's up with Byrd? He cool? Yeah, he doing all right. He's hanging in Birkin, in Michigan. Oh, you stay out there, okay. Yeah, he's still there. What about my man Ronnie Byrd? Man, Ronnie, Ronnie been messed up for a long time. Yeah. He live off the, like the state, the government. He can never work again. But he just, but he's kicking it, think he's still playing. He didn't right all the way, but he's still doing it. He keep his confidence up with his haircut. Oh, you see, I'm going to go get my haircut so I can get my confidence up. Yo, you got to keep his confidence up. What's up with Tim Littles? I ain't heard nothing from him. Oh, man, he's just trying to... I talk to him probably like once a month, once every couple months. Yeah, he's doing all right. He worked for like a wireless system in Michigan, trying to get some boxing going, like gym. He's doing all right, though. Yeah, I'm in the process. I'm trying to get a gym open up here, out here. I know, and all of us try to get a gym. I'm thinking the same thing. If I get a gym, I'm having a major camp. I gotta have a gym.
Imagine if you guys hooked up.
You grew up living in the gym your whole life. You gotta have one. That's all we know.
You guys need to hook up, man. Super team. That'd be a super team.
I wish we could have a reunion. I wish we could have a reunion for everybody to get together and hang out. This is 20 years since our Olympics. 20 years. That's crazy. It seems like it was yesterday. 20 years. I'm telling you, remember everything.
Let's talk about your roommate days. What was Chris like to live with, Montell?
Well, you gotta put yourself in my shoes. I only boxed for 1 year. So all these guys were superstars. I looked up to all of them. I kept up with all of them. So just to get a chance to meet them, it just was awesome. Chris, you know what I'm saying? Cause I tell Chris this story. We fight at the U.S. Championships, and his family and everything, Pat and everybody, they was, you know, sitting. I sit right next to them to be close to them, and I just be staring at him the whole time. And you know, he ain't noticed whatever. I was like, man, I was just staring at y'all. Cause I was like, you was Chris Byrd. I mean, the funny thing about it though, when I first got on the scene, I went to the Sports Fest. It was in L.A. in '91. And, you know, I was coming from 210, so I knew I was going to make 165. So I went straight to the fight to look at Chris Byrd. I just knew I was going to make middleweight. I was going to fight Chris Byrd. I ain't even watched John Ruiz. I mean, I watched John Ruiz in trap when we fought Denard trap for the championship, but I paid more attention to Chris Byrd. So when I didn't make light heavyweight, you know, then I was like, okay, I could be friends with this guy. I can't make light heavyweight. and then Chris and his whole family just opened up their whole family to me. Everybody, his mother, his father, his brothers, his sisters, they treated me like they knew me for 20 years. Yeah. It was just a great experience.
Yeah, it was great. I mean, it was great. And the thing about Montell, y'all went to training camp. You went to training camp with what? My father was a coach at Patrick. Didn't you? After U.S. Championship?
No, that's when they played me. They played me. I fought with the Florida with y'all.
Yeah.
See, if I would have fought Twister Maya in Florida, then USA would have got behind me because I'd have beat him in Florida. Yeah. Then they'd be like, okay, this kid really is the man. They sent the two guys who I beat. I beat John Ruiz. I beat Denard Trap. They sent them to Florida.
And they sent John because John fought Twister Maya with us.
Right, and John beat him.
Yeah,
John beat him, so they got behind John. But then Jeremy, the best thing that ever happened in the trials was Jeremy and John fought each other the first night. So it got one of them out the way. It would have been too hard for me to beat both of them.
No, but you'd have beat
so,
them.
I mean, well, you know, I at the time, you know, because, you know, remember in the trials, when I beat Jeremy in the championship, they robbed me. So I really didn't know what was going to happen. I just was lucky enough. The best thing that ever happened to me was my sponsor was a lawyer. He got me back into the Olympics. If I didn't have my sponsor, I wouldn't have made the team.
Nope.
I would have been out. Yeah.
They had big opportunity to go. So,
you know, Jeremy, you know, was great. Probably one of the great amateurs ever. They put all that money in him. You know, he had been around, so shit, why wouldn't they, you know, want to ride with him? But I just was a kid that just came out of nowhere and haunted that man's dreams. I know he hate me. He hated that I came out of nowhere and beat him. I know that's his dream. That's Kid's dream.
But the thing I knowing about you was when y'all went to camp, and when Patrick and my father came back, you know, my father loved a short heavyweight, but you was short light heavyweight. He was like, man, there's a kid there, Chris. And now this is my father telling me, you can't hit him with a handful of BBs. I'm like, I'm thinking, ain't nobody slicker than me. I already know that. Ain't nobody slicker than me. And so Patrick confirmed it. He was like, I'm telling you, Chris, dude sharp.
Hey,
I'm like, that little cat that won at light heavyweight.
hey, Chris Curley. Not Chris Byrd, but Chris Curley. Me and Chris Byrd, when we got in the ring to spar, the whole gym would stop. De La Hoya, Vernon Ford, Larry Donald, everybody stopped to come watch us. Everybody they was like, man, that's just the greatest pure piece of boxing we've ever seen in our life.
Ever. And I was like, what? Because I'm in shock, because I'm not used to, you know, because I was on the scene, you know, from 88 up until 92, every year at camps and doing stuff. Ain't nobody been slicker than me. No, I clown all these guys. You know, spar, they hate sparring with me. And then I get in the ring with somebody like Montell. And I'm missing. I'm like, dang, I know how it feels to fight me. it was so hard. I mean, it was crazy, but it was great with a different style that I had never seen before. And trying to work with it is very frustrating. I gave so much props to Montell. And in his career as a professional, nothing surprised me. Nothing. Roy Jones fight, they can say whatever. Well, Roy was winning this. No, Roy was frustrated.
Because I know that because I was frustrated with it. Fight James Toney, that did surprise me. Him beating James Toney not once but twice. Like, come on, man. That's Hall of Fame status right there. You beat James Toney twice and Roy Jones.
Now, how'd you feel when Montell? I'm sorry, Montell. Go on.
I'm saying don't get no respect for it.
Yeah.
I never got no respect for nothing my whole career. I made the Olympic team with 30 fights. I never got no respect for it.
None.
I had 30 fights. Everybody had two or 300 fights. I had 30 fights.
Yeah. So you guys have that in common too, man. I mean, you guys fought for respect, even though you should have just easily got it. You know, both of you had that.
Right. I mean, Chris Byrd was around since '88. Don't get me wrong. Oscar De La Hoya, Eric Griffin, Jeremy Williams was great fighters. But this man dominated. He dominated a division better than any fighter in history. I used to tease him. I said, "How do it feel knowing you already on the team?" And he just laughed like, "Yeah, whatever." I said, "Dude, after you beat everybody 10 times."
You remember, we used to sit up at me, you, and Patrick at night to prepare for the Olympic trials, and we talking about, you know, you gonna make the Olympics today. I'll never forget, because Patrick was the one that was always, man, y'all gonna make it, man.
Yeah, thanks, y'all.
I ain't gonna make it. And you used to dog him, but man, never said we ain't traded for no reason. We don't get
right, I don't know what you talking about. I'm like, shit, you just as good as everybody else. I'm like, you ain't good. You ain't Pepe Riley and them ain't better than you. Jesse Racine and all them cats ain't better than you. But I just knew I had confidence, but I know I had hard road. I mean, besides, 139-pound division was one of the greatest weight classes ever in history.
Ever, look, all four of them.
With Vernon Ford, Shane Mosley, Stevie Johnson, Teron Millette, and all other guys. That was just one of the greatest weight classes in history. And I ain't going to say in history, but I'm going to say my weight class is the second greatest. Because I had Jeremy Williams, John Weeds, and Terry McGroom. So, I had confidence in myself, but I just knew, I'm telling Chris, I said, where I came from, I said, Chris, I said, you automatically on the team. So all you got to do is just fight normal and you on the team. He's like, nah. But he never got overconfident. He was like, nah, them guys coming after me. They come after me, but he's smiling the way he's saying it. He said, nah, they going to come after me. It's going to be hard, but he's smiling. But I was like, man, I ain't giving up. I'm coming after you cats.
How do you think the 92 team compares to the 88 and the 76 and the 84? Where do you think
we'll never get the respect. We'll never get the respect because of the... Go ahead. Chris, you go first.
Well, my thing is no disrespect to 84, 88. Great team. And I'm not going off professional champions. But when you look at medals, come on, man, they won the full Olympics. It's got to be 76, 92 in comparison. Who the best out of those two? Then we why? Because 84 and 88 didn't fight nobody. Yeah, if you don't got Russia and Cuba there, you don't have an Olympics. That's in my
Russia, Cuba, or Germany. Russia, Cuba, or Germany wasn't there.
Or Germany. My fault. That's the strongest nations.
And another thing. Donnell Nicholson was supposed to be one of the greatest fighters in history for beating Felix Savon that got robbed. That changed his whole career. He wins that fight, he's a superstar.
Yep.
It was the first. That was the first fight American fought a Cuban since '76, and he beat the man 2 out of 3 rounds. You tell me, how do you lose a fight and you lose 1 round?
Regular judging, back when. Biggest upset in history. Look,
in history,
changing the whole life as a pro.
Whole life.
Same with Eric Griffin. He came out for Michael Carbajal first fight, $1 million. There he had scheduled.
Yeah.
And on our team, personally, the greatest amateur to ever fight, but not win a medal, Eric Griffin. When you go to amateur, he won everything. Eric Griffin was like king. So we had a great team. We don't get no prop for it, but really, we have 5 of us won titles. Really 6.
Nah. Six world titles. Supposed to be 7. Sergio's supposed to be 7.
Yeah, Sergio. My fault. It was 6 for 1 title, and it really would have been 7. I mean, from a team that got dogged out after the Olympics because we only won 3 medals, but they didn't look how we had the first Olympics that had computer scoring, which was jacked up. Because one day, one of the African judges didn't even push the button for nobody. Right. So that messes up. And with us boxing, American fighters, we didn't get our just due. I mean, you look at doctors, gold medals, and Montell definitely be towards their mind.
Stole my gold medal.
Who won a gold medal? We had medals lined up. I'm like, come on. And we getting wiped out because of the stupid computer scoring system. So, and we never got the props. And I'll never forget, on the front of one of the back of a boxing magazine, it said a bombing in Barcelona. I mean, we got on out every article and every boxer outside of Oscar. Because I won silver, but still, you know, he won and he lost. He's not really a pro material and all this stuff. I'm like, come on, man. We got a great team, but we never get the props for it.
Right.
So what do you think? You'd be like number 2 all time? Behind 76?
Hey, I look like this. We're number 1. I'm not disrespecting nobody. I don't care about fame as professional. I match our guys with every one. And let's go through it. Who gonna win at this weight class? This way, who gonna beat him? Hey, and every you know class gonna say we number 1. You know, 84 like the other knows we won. You know, 88 we had a lot of great stars, and definitely 76 gonna say the same thing. So, you know, hey, compare us with any of us and match us up.
Right.
That's how you gotta do it.
It's unarguable, man. Talented team. What do you guys remember about Tim Austin?
Oh,
my man, little Tommy Hearns. Little Tommy Hearns.
And Timmy Austin can crack.
Now let me say this, Chris Curley. Let me say this. Now Chris Byrd just said that one of the greatest amateurs ever not to win the gold medal was Eric Griffin, right? Timmy Austin played with him like he was his little boy. He played with him. When they sparred, they couldn't let him spar because he played with him.
Eric Griffin couldn't move up to 112. Because he couldn't beat Timmy. Because he go up there and Timmy literally would toy with him. And we talking about
little Tommy Hearns
in a smaller weight class. And Timmy Austin, he punched so hard, and always been like that. Just like he said, little Tommy Hearns. Well, left-handed Tommy Hearns, long.
Left-handed Tommy Hearns. You never seen a kid 112 pounds knocking people out.
I mean, cold.
His body type too, just like Tommy. Yeah, just like Junior Jones too. They got that same type of build.
Yeah, Junior was nice.
How'd you guys feel? Because he was always kind of didn't get the respect he deserved either. That whole team.
He was real quiet. The man was world champ for 5 years.
Yeah.
5 years and never got no respect.
Dominated. Just under the wrong system. Promoter, where he could have breakout fights and match with the best in that. You know, when he was dominating. Because he lost to Rafael Marquez in a great fight. He lost his title.
Great fight.
And Timmy was cutting that weight, and it was killing him. Because I was waiting the day before and the day of when he lost his belt, and that weight was getting to him. And, you know, he was planning on moving up basically after that fight, but, you know, just got beat that fight, lost his title. But I think one of the greatest, man, that never got no publicity. None.
Yeah, definitely.
Chris, let me ask you this. Chris Byrd, like I said, you was around for 4 years. I wasn't. I came out of nowhere. Out of them 12 fighters, who was actually the greatest amateur out of all of them? Who you think? You think it was Oscar, or who you think was the greatest fighter out of all of them?
Greatest?
Out of the 12 on 92 team, who was the greatest fighter?
Eric Griffin.
You say Eric, okay.
You talking about amateur fighters?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So you say Eric, you say Eric over Oscar?
Oh, by far. Oscar goes. It's like I'm gonna go biblical. He couldn't tie Eric Griffin's shoelace. Dude won everything. We already knew we had gold medal as soon as we come. We know we got one gold. He
can't be there.
Right.
It's the best.
Who do you think, Montell?
Shit. I mean, see, I saw, I saw something people didn't see. Oscar De La Hoya got all the pub, but I saw Vernon Forrest beat his ass. I seen him play with Oscar De La Hoya. Play with him. I gotta say, okay. I didn't really see Eric Griffin that much. I didn't see him fight that much, but I heard about him. But so you got, it's so hard. You got Eric Griffin, you got Timmy Austin, you got Chris Byrd, you got Vernon Forrest, you got Oscar De La Hoya.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just greatness on top of greatness.
Now, how do you explain the dramatic fall off after '92? How come there was never a team that could even come close to being that good again?
'96 did real good. I mean, they got five, yeah.
Yeah, they was a good.
They got one gold and like one gold, one silver, and like 5 bronze.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah, they did pretty good.
They were good.
Yeah, they did good. They did good as pros too.
Yeah.
I mean, they were.
Yeah, '96 was good. Good team.
Yeah,
After '96 it was over.
Yeah, after '96,
'96 was the last good team.
I apologize.
Yeah, 'cause you got Floyd, you got Vargas, David Reed was so tight. Oh my goodness, it is coming up, and he was tight. So you had some, really good.
They
guys.
was good
Had, your boy from Chicago, David Diaz.
Diaz, Tarver. I think we got 6 world champs. I think they only got 5. They never caught it. I think they only got 5.
Yeah, but they had a nice team.
Yeah. Well, what do you think happened after '96 though?
I just think kids not boxing like they used to when we was kids.
Yeah, so
gym not full of gym like
a
back in
real
the
gym.
70s, 80s, gym was packed full of kids fighting.
It's totally different. You go to a tournament or a boxing show, it's like, especially tournaments, it's like I go to the AAU basketball, it's kids everywhere. That's how boxing was. You got kids
that's how boxing used to be.
And you fight, and it was shows every weekend. Someone put on a show, and that's why we had so many fights.
Yeah, you got to think at the Golden Gloves. When I was 10 years old, the Golden Gloves, it would be 100 fights in one night. And nowadays it might be 17, 12.
Yeah.
Used to be 100 fights. The fight was over 3, 4 in the morning. Started at 10 o'clock when I was a kid watching all these. Oh, remember Orlando Johnson, Al Evans, all them guys, man, Leroy Murphy. Watching all them cats.
I grew up in that era, watching my brothers fight, knowing all those guys he talking about. But I grew up in the era where you fought 3 times in a day.
Right.
Then they cut all that out. I mean, you had to keep fighting. The
most I ever fought was only twice.
I mean, they have. I was like, man, you just keep because you have so many in your weight class. But see, with the boxing and you hanging around, see, me and Montell, we hung around boxing our whole life. You around the game, you develop. Love you around the game, you develop, and you box a lot. You develop your skills and staying with it. You develop a skill set that never leaves. Like Montell took time off, came back, still had that skill set. No way in heck you're going to come back in that short amount of time, make the Olympic team. But when you look at his skill set, you're like, what? That people really, me and Montell, really, we fought alike, but we were different. If I made you miss, I lean over the back, it's like clearly. Montell could make a little adjustment, just a little move, and make you miss. You swing again, he just dip a little bit more. I'm like, you can't hit this dude with nothing. I mean, it was so sneaky and so difficult. It's even hard for me to explain his skill set and what he had. I mean, only people that can tell you is a guy like Roy Jones now would tell you the honest truth. When we're boxing, you fight against somebody, I can tell you the truth. Like, dude, all right. I mean, he beat me, but he really did beat me. He gave it to me. But James Toney, you ask him now, he's like, that's the most difficult dude I ever got in the ring, ever. From sparring to fighting that I ever
Who said that?
in front of him.
Who said that?
I know he is saying that. James Toney.
Yeah.
I know that.
If he's being honest.
For sure, because when you talk about James, when you talk to him for real, it's like, man, that's just mad respect. That's among boxers, though.
Now you get in front of the media, you talk to in the interview, yeah, he alright, you know, he can fight a little bit. But now you talk to a fighter, it's totally different. Like, dude, don't fight him. You know, and I'm real like that too. I'm like, if you don't want to fight him,
Remember I told you about friends?
Look, I tell everybody about that. You told me about friends. I didn't even watch much tape. I'm like, friends, you like, man, I see that mother knock this dude out in the gym. I'm like, he don't punch like that.
He was like, Nate Jones. Knock Nate Jones out.
Knock Nate out. Look, he got, you told me about that. I sparred with Nate. Me and Nate went at it. We was going at it in the gym, talking, clowning, having fun. He knocked Nate out. And this is before, he told me this before I fought him. Taking friends for granted. But in boxing,
look, he hit Nate Jones with a left hook on top of the head. And Nate Jones was gone for like 2 hours. I mean, they finished sparring. He was out for 2 hours. He came to me, we was in the dressing room getting dressed. He said, "Do you look like I was hurt?" I was like, "Hell yeah, you was hurt." I said, "Everybody seen you was hurt." And friends with his speed and everything, he was just he the hardest guy I've ever sparred in my life.
Oh yeah, boxing ability, crafty as ever. And
terrible.
I'm thinking I'm coming off of Byrd and Holyfield and beating him in good fashion. I'm thinking, man, friends can't work with this. Man, boxing is a style matchup. You got I'm a pure boxer, but you got another pure boxer who's just sneaky fast, but sneaky strong. Everybody look at his power, and you're like, man, you get in the fight, and you're in the middle of it. I got to constantly make adjustments. Like, this is the hardest fight I had as a pro. That's a shit fight,
Now I make fights.
And how'd you feel that night that he fought Frez Montell? You got
that was one fight I never wanted to see happen.
Yeah.
Chris Bird's my man. Chris Bird's like my brother.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? We hung out. I stayed at his house. I never wanted him to see him fight Frez, and I told him because style makes fights. I know Chris style. I know my style. I know Frez style. Yeah. And I knew how hard it was for me to spar Frez. You know? So, and this was when Frez was at light heavyweight. So when he went up to heavyweight. And that power, I don't know where that power came from, but I see how he was hitting people and hurting them. And I'm like, man, Chris, man, don't mess with him. Chris, are you crazy? He garbage. I'm like, I said, don't mess with Frez. Like anybody, I said, if there's any fighter that I know that could give you problems, Frez is the only one. Mm-hmm. And I just fight, you told me that you was right.
And he was. Now, you remember, Montell was in the ring with me when I fought him at the Holyfield. So, you know, I'm listening to him. You know, we like brothers. I'm like, okay, whatever. I like whatever. I have no trust in that.
Hey, look, I got to tell y'all this story. You already know, Chris. Like, Holyfield is like, it's Muhammad Ali. I was in love with Evander Holyfield, James Toney, and Pernell Whitaker. Mm-hmm. But Holyfield, to me, was second behind Muhammad Ali. He's one of the greatest ever, in my eyes, right? So I'm in the ring. Chris asked me to walk him to the ring. I felt great. I felt honored and everything. So I'm in the ring with Chris, and Holyfield looked me in my face, and I just looked away. I felt so bad. I was like, ah. Mm-hmm. I said, he see me in the ring with Chris. I was like, ah. Kill me. I couldn't even look him in his face.
Oh, man.
Because he was an idol to me. Mm-hmm. Evander Holyfield is the only fighter I know that any fight you went to that he fought, even if he lost, you would walk out the stadium and say, man, that's a bad man.
Yep.
He could have lost. You leaving out the stadium like, man, that man bad.
The mental ability to come back against a guy who beat him like so many times, like it's amazing how he's not afraid of anything, and he just gives it 100% every time. And
the man 215, 216, fighting people 250.
Man.
Lennox Lewis, Riddick Bowe, he's standing right there with them trades, going blow for blow.
Yep. After Bowe did what he did to him in the first fight, he came back and beat him. That's incredible. Incredible. You know? And Lennox Lewis, too, in that first fight, beat him up pretty good, and he still came back. He was going to fight after Tyson already bit an ear off.
The man he wanted to continue to fight.
Yeah.
It was missing.
That's amazing.
That's what that man was made of. He is, like I tell everybody to this day, my top 5 heavyweights, Muhammad Ali, Holyfield,
I got to put Joe Louis up there, and Larry Holmes and Lance Lewis. That's my top 5.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I see Holyfield could beat all 4 of them. He ain't gonna beat Ali, but he could beat the other 3.
You don't think he
So
might
that's
have
why I
beat
got
him?
him second.
There's no...
Hell no, Ali was the boxers. Ali, his speed and skill level and his size make him great in every area. Whatever area it was, he'd be good enough.
Yeah. Chris,
that 220 with his speed.
Yeah.
And I tell people, Cassius Clay, not Muhammad Ali, but Cassius Clay was the greatest fighter ever in history.
Mm-hmm.
They keep talking about this Sugar Ray Robinson. I tell people, I said, look at Sugar Ray Robinson, look at Muhammad Ali. Sugar Ray Robinson didn't have the legs that Cassius Clay had. He's the greatest fighter that ever put a pair of gloves on. Cassius Clay. Not Muhammad Ali, who sat out for 3 years, but Cassius Clay.
I go with Cassius Clay all the time as far as, okay, before the Ali, you look at Cassius, Marcellus Clay.
Right, I mean, right. The man lost 3 years in his prime.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The greatest fighter that ever laced it up.
Now, would you ask Montell a lot of Muhammad Ali questions, Chris?
What's that?
Would you ask Montell a lot of questions about Muhammad Ali because he was real close to him?
No.
No?
I didn't. You know what? Honestly, I didn't even know he knew Muhammad Ali.
Yeah.
I really didn't even say nothing about it.
Yeah.
You know, Flex. See, Flex. You know what Flex said? That's what I told Flex. Sean Fletcher, who was one of a great amateur, good pro and everything. Now, you know, we used to all sit around. Sean said he was the man. He got 200, 300, 400 fights, whatever. I said, Sean, I only got 30 amateur fights, and I still made the Olympics. He said, well, you know what? You growing up with Muhammad Ali made you a better fighter. He said, you don't even need. He said, growing up and being around Muhammad Ali would have got you 50 wins. And you know who else told me? Johnny McClain, Yaya. They both told me the exact same thing. They said, being around Muhammad Ali, they got you as good as you are.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, well, that makes sense.
And that's true.
I was a Tyson fan.
Yeah.
I was a huge Tyson. I seen Mike fight when he was 15 years old. I was like, ain't nobody gonna beat Mike.
Mm.
I was a huge Tyson fan. Everybody thought I was kind of stupid. They're like, why you like Tyson? You a pure boxer, and you like Tyson? I just like, dude, work ethic. I know how he fight. I know what he can bring, and he's undersized, but he bring it every time. I fell in love with Mike Tyson, man.
Yeah.
Love that dude.
I mean, he was on the right road. He was on the road to be the greatest fighter ever. Whatever happened with his trainer and his manager died, that made a big difference.
Okay, so
and lifestyle, you know,
yeah.
you got a lot when you was young. You start to have a lifestyle like that, take years off your career, and your focus and your mentality ain't the same all the time.
How about
Now he fought Buster Douglas. Come on, man, he a shell of himself. And he still knocked the man down in a long count, and I still had a chance to win. And he had the worst night of his life. Buster Douglas had the greatest night. On that night, you put him with any heavyweight, he get with him. Any heavyweight.
On that night, Buster Douglas beating everybody.
Yep.
Ooh, he was on point.
He was motivated to. He was on that night, like they say, Cassius Clay fought Cleveland Williams would have beat anybody ever in history. James Buster Douglas would have beat anybody ever in history that night.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness!
I was just thinking that too not that long ago. I really believe that too, man. Really do.
He was so tight that night. I mean, hands was just fast. Everything was just perfect.
He was just ready to die that night. he was,
Hey, Chris, let me ask you this. Chris Byrd, let me ask you one question. All right. You a great Mike Tyson fan. Did it change the way you look at him a little bit when he quit in a fight? Did that make a difference to you?
It changes with any fighter in history if you quit the fight.
I mean, when Oscar quit against Pacquiao, that hurt me so bad.
Look, hey, I don't care. When I lost all the weight, that's fighting light heavyweight, my shoulder came up hurt. When they stopped at night, but even when I went down, got up, and the referee like, you continue. I wanted to still fight with the one eye. I don't care. I just wanted to finish the fight. You don't quit. I fought.
Ain't no such thing as quit.
Vladimir Klitschko, the first fight, I took a beat for 12 rounds. For 12 rounds. I ain't quit. Went to the wrong corner in the 10th round. I ain't gonna quit.
Ain't no such thing as quitting.
No, you don't sit in the corner and quit. Hey, you're a fighter. You got to be almost, and I know it sounds kind of crazy, almost willing to die in the ring before you quit. You know,
right.
everybody get injured. Stuff happens, but it's part of the sport.
And
they just call me safety first, and you don't want to engage. I'm like, dude, I'm one of the toughest dudes in boxing at this point. Shoot, I'll fight all these cats. I ain't tripping. I don't care.
Right.
I want to care about getting destroyed or dude too big. Let's fight. And I ain't gonna quit. They can just punk me.
If I could choose on how I want to die, I'd rather die in the ring than anywhere else.
I told my wife that, and look, and then Tracy, finally was like, I see where you're coming from. This is what I do. If I'm in the ring, I die. I died doing what I love. It's unfortunate that I died in the ring. I mean, I got a family. I wanna be there for my kids. But if I was to die at any point in my life, then in the ring.
Right, no doubt.
I love it.
No doubt.
Now, were you ever in a fight, Chris, that you felt you might actually die in there? Did you ever get hit so hard?
It's after the fight. Back-to-back fight. Andrew Galata, Jamil McCline. Only 2 fights in my... Not fighting Ike or not even get pounded by Vladimir Klitschko both times. But after the Galata and Jamil McCline fight, I told my wife, if I don't wake up, I'll see you in heaven. Man, I just told her that because I didn't feel right. After the fight, my head was in a different, wasn't in this world. It was just spinning. I'm like, man, this is the only time I really feel like I may not wake up from, going to sleep and waking up. So, other parts of your body in other fights, you broke up. But in those 2 fights, it was more my head than anything.
Well, how about you, Montell? That ever happen to you?
Not as far as like my head or nothing like that. I mean, I pray to God that when Roy Jones hit me with the dirty second shot where I didn't see and he loaded up, I just pray to God that I didn't lose consciousness or I died because I could have. Because it was just a dirty, vicious shot. And even when Tarver hit me in the back of the head, it was a dirty, vicious shot. But
first round,
as far as my head, right, the first round, the man hit me in the back of the head with a dirty shot. And nobody said nothing about it. And I still fought 11 rounds with a concussion. The scariest thing my wife at the time, what happened was, after I fought Tarver, I came home and I was feeling terrible. And I got up to use the bathroom, and my wife at the time came in and woke me up, and I was laying on the floor. I said, "What's wrong? What happened to you?" I was holding my penis in my hand, and I was laying on the floor. I had passed out. And that's when I knew, I needed to go to the doctor, and I got an MRI. They said I had a concussion. But that was the worst I ever felt as far as a head shot. But I fought a guy named, I think his name was Thomas Reed. I fought a guy in Connecticut. And I had lost 37 pounds in like 6 weeks. I was supposed to have been 7 weeks, but ESPN ended up moving the fight up an extra week, and I lost 37 pounds. That's the first time I ever felt about quitting in a fight. That's how bad I was feeling. I was like, man, I can't do this no more. So I just wouldn't let myself quit. But that was the worst I ever felt as far as physically.
So you didn't want to quit
couldn't do it, though. Yeah. Man, I couldn't do it, man. I want to be able to live with myself.
So how did you guys feel when you saw De La Hoya quit against Pacquiao? Like,
it hurt me. It hurt me real bad. It hurt me. Oh man, it hurt me with Tyson. I mean, like people to this day, they get mad, because they Tyson fans. He probably got the greatest fan base in boxing. And I tell them, I said, man, he quit, man. I mean, I just can't look at them the same when they get mad at me. I said, I'm a boxer, man. I know how I feel. You know what I'm saying? To quit and everything. And when I was watching the fight, I was in my buddy's basement, sitting next to my wife, and when they asked Oscar, we gonna stop the fight, and he said, okay. It was like a shock went through my whole body. I just couldn't believe. It hurt me, like I just couldn't believe when he agreed and said, okay, yeah, stop the fight.
Yeah, I was shocked too.
I just don't believe, I can't believe still that fighters and, on a lower level, some guys come in and just get paid. okay, give me more money. You know, I'm gonna fight a little bit and you go. And you got a mid level, but when you're at the highest level of the sport and you quitting, come on now. I mean, you that's just not even in my mental capacity to even think about ever just. Oh, I'm just going. Man, I'm getting beat up. I'm just gonna quit. I mean, I may not have a chance of winning, but I'm not gonna quit.
Now,
I wasn't a power puncher. I didn't have late knockout power, but if you beat me every round, beat me up, and the referee ain't gonna just stop the fight, and I'm still hanging in there fighting enough to where he can't stop it, I'm not gonna quit. I'm gonna just give up on. No, you fight to the end.
Yeah.
That's true for me. For me, no doubt, true fight.
Yeah. How'd you feel when you saw Vitaly Klitschko quit with you? How'd you feel about that?
Look, when my lawyer told me, look, I sit down after the ninth round, ninth round over, and my lawyer told me, hey, I think he quit. That's why I jumped straight up in the air, and I grabbed, I hugged my brother Patrick, crying. I'm like, are you
crying like a baby?
Like a little baby, like somebody just take me. But the thought that went through my mind was, I can't believe you quit. Especially when you in your home country, adopted country. Everybody cheer for you, and you supposed to be up on the scorecard. Wait, and you quit over? I'm like, are you sick? Are you serious? You quit. You champion, and you quit.
Yeah.
Who got that? So I'm like, the respect level, that's why he got criticized so bad after the fight a lot. And they elevated Vladimir to supreme, and he dropped because the respect level was gone. That's why he made up when he fought Lennox Lewis. He wanted to hang there and fight and show people, well, I'm really not a quitter. But you really was a quitter. I mean, you quit in a fight, I don't care. You do it once, it's the thought, you'll do it again. If they get hot and heavy in there, you're going to end up, at the end of the day, I'm done. I'm not going to